Right, yeah, pretty sound, my friend.
Oh, you
Well, welcome everyone. So glad you guys are here. This is our first long-range planning committee meeting, and we happen to be in the library conference room tonight at 6:30, January 29th. So we're looking forward to a good agenda tonight, and those that are here and presently on this committee, I appreciate you folks. You wouldn't be here unless you cared about the future of Southern Valley. There's just a whole lot. We've got a big job in front of us. And that's going to come out tonight in the agenda for sure. But anyway, everybody needs to know that this originally was homeland for the Coast Salish peoples on this land a long time ago. And Southern Valley is all about anti-racism, and SVCA stands against racism in all colors. So that needs to be known. We'll do a roll call.
You want to do it? No.
You can-
I'm gonna keep track of it. Okay, Ray.
Yes, sir.
Polder. Yeah. Elizabeth. Gary. Ken.
You're a V, that comes at the end of the.
I thought you were doing some type of, you're just doing it random, okay, alphabetical.
All right, and Chad as a guest, and of course, our mountain bike club guest.
Yes. And welcome our mountain bike club friends. I met you. Your first name?
I'm Lauren.
Lauren, pleasure.
Come on, Adam.
Target.
Dan.
Michael. Kurt.
Kurt. Okay. And then one more quick one on the entry here. Could you tell us, Adam, how long you've lived in Southern Valley?
Since 2017.
Okay. And Gary?
2017.
That's weird. I'm 2017 also.
It was a good year.
Just got here.
I'm a new kid on the block, 2023.
I wish I.
And how about you, Ken? How long you been?
Well, I'm trying to remember, I guess we bought our second home here in 1997.
Okay.
So, and we're spending more and more time here as time goes on. And my daughter lives at home here as well for 3 years.
And Elizabeth? How long?
2000.
2000. Okay, so we got a lot of. Mitch, welcome. Just in time to sit down and tell us how many years you've been living in Southern Valley.
First off, I apologize for my tardiness.
You are fine.
I've been here since 2006.
2006. All right. And Chad is busy tonight. How long have you been in Southern Valley?
Since 2022.
All right, super. And I think our guests live in Southern Valley.
That's right.
Well, Dan, how long have you lived
Yeah,
here?
2016, but I first visited years before that.
Wow. And yourself?
2017.
Oh, yeah, two, we're all in here.
2021.
We're 21?
I have to correct myself, I'm sorry. I was thinking of a different date. I've been here since 2013.
2013. Okay, and Bert?
2021 as well.
All right. And Michael just got here.
December 15th.
We're so glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm a man looking for power.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank you.
So, that's great.
So there's a pun in some of the
Thanks for your help.
managers looking for.
So we're gonna kind of go with Robert's rules here a little bit, and if you guys could take a quick look at this agenda and see if we could all agree and try to take that on tonight.
I move we adopt the agenda.
In a second,
Second.
ready to vote? Good. Okay, got that taken care of. We kind of took care of the greeting also, but tonight, as we've all been anticipating, a presentation by the Whatcom Mountain Bike Club, not Bible Club, but Bike Club. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah,
Well, I'll pray that we're successful.
So they have, I'm just gonna let you guys take the floor. You do have, it's 22, you got like 15 minutes, and then if you roll another 5, it's probably fine. However you wanna do it, we will have questions, whatever you wanna do that, you just figure that out what's best.
Sure,
We're glad to hear it. You got the screen.
sure.
Alright.
Great. And Michael, were you driving or are you Michael driving? Which one?
This Michael's driving, right?
I understand the maintenance director's name is Michael too, so this will be real
Yes.
confusing.
Yeah.
I should probably stand here so I'm not blocking anybody.
Next to Mike.
Get right over here. How's that? So good evening, everybody. Thanks so much for letting us have some time on your agenda tonight. We represent Sudden Valley Safe Cycling. I did want to say at the outset, just for the sake of clarity and distinction, we are all Whatcom Mountain Bike Coalition members. However, we are not acting on the behalf of WMBC. Just to clarify, make it into semantics. It's an important distinction because we are homeowners here that are acting to benefit our own community. Whatcom Mountain Bike Coalition does all kinds of community-wide events, regardless of the location. We initiated this project on our own without any affiliation with WMBC, but as members, we inquired about advocacy and support, and they love it. They said, yeah, well, we'd love to support it, but we just wanted to be clear on that.
Thank you.
Love to do, and, yeah, a little bit of a distinction there. So again, what we're all about is, there we go. We're a club formed by residents and homeowners. We enjoy bikes a ton, and we feel that there are opportunities here in the valley, such as we find those around the country and around town and other places, to have more cycling opportunities for everybody, young and old. We know our terrain is really hilly and steep. We don't have the benefit of sidewalks. However, we have a wonderful, wonderful place. And I should also say I'm a new parent. Mickey's a relatively new parent. Kurt's a parent to be. We are really excited about the opportunity to bring this forward for that generation that we groups forward to.
Okay, I'm pushing the button. Let's try it. There we go.
All right. So the purpose of being here today is to ask for your permission to explore and develop this project. And what this project would be is a bike skills area utilizing this recreation corridor here. And in order to get this accomplished, we know that we need collaboration between ourselves and all of you, and to utilize HOA property that we enjoy so much. And so it's a real simple objective. We know that there are a lot of details to be worked out, and we have a lot of things figured out already. But we don't want to get too far down the tracks until we figure out that this space is approved and we have your support, and we're very transparent, open to all of your questions. I know we've thought this through, but there'll be other things we haven't done. Sir?
Well, this view,
Yes.
we're proposing the collaboration between, and you list yourself as an acronym, Sudden Valley Cycling Club, I'm assuming.
Say sorry, yes.
But you're not a 504C, you're just a loose collaboration of homeowners, so you're not really anything more than that.
We can speak to that in
Yeah.
detail. So we as a club have not yet seen the need to go through the hoops with getting us establishing ourselves as a
I'm good with
legitimate
that.
entity. We have different ways of doing it. It also depends on the need of Sudden Valley, of the community association, in order to partner with us. We could do the 401.3C. However, that would mean that we have to suddenly do a lot of accounting and other stuff, which we're kind of like rather work on other things than do that. Another option for us would be to establish ourselves as a chapter of WNBC by the means of a memo of understanding, which then would make us a legal entity as well. There's different ways of doing this. All of them can cost money and have different levels of involvement and work for us. So it's really up to kind of like what is needed for this collaboration, and that's kind of part of the questions that we have for you. And then I think in the long run for Michael to figure out the right way of collaborating.
Yeah, thanks, Mitch.
Thank you, I mean, a very full answer, and I really appreciate it, very well done. My point being that it's a collaboration between members and the association. That's all,
Yeah.
right? You're not an entity yet, so
Right.
you're coming to the corporation, Sudden Valley, to say, hey, we as members are interested, because right now that would say, hey, Sudden Valley, are you interested in picking this up, because it would put the onus on Sudden Valley as residents asking for it, that's all.
Understood, yes, sir. Yeah, thanks. We have done our due diligence, I think, up until the point of like, well, until we have permission and so forth, we probably shouldn't spend a lot of energy on those types of details, but yeah. And we have a lot of different ways that we'd love to go about this. I mean, we could serve as, you know, an advisor, a design and a build advisor, say the maintenance department, if the maintenance department, for instance, was to perform the work. We're open to anything in it. No,
Good. You wanna, next slide.
yeah. Because anybody, actually, I should ask before we show this, I was thinking, does anybody know what a pump track is? You ever heard one? 1, 2, 3, okay.
I just learned of it when you started talking.
Yeah.
Based on, I know what it is now.
Yeah, so a pump track is a dirt, usually dirt, or almost exclusively dirt, track that is designed for bicycles to get around the track in the same way that you ride a swing set, that you pump your legs and you use your momentum to go around them. You don't pedal. The idea is to not pedal. Beginners will pedal, but the idea is to be able to use your momentum. The track design is what makes this possible in order to get around it. Anybody, so if you haven't heard of pump tracks, you'd probably be surprised to know that there are already 7 pump tracks in Bellingham and in the area. There's one on Y Road, and then there's 6 in town, including Trackside and Birchwood, Cordova.
So you have to pump to start.
You don't have to, you would roll in, and usually they have a starting feature like such as a raised block or a platform. And you roll in, and with that momentum, without pedaling, you would be able to navigate the whole track.
So really, it's a non-pump track.
It's only pumping, not pedaling. It's not a
non-pedal track.
Non-pedal pump track.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
Right, really good body.
And the distinction here, or I should say, a winning feature of this is that it works for literally every ability level, right? Any skill level. From my 5-year-old, who started riding at 3 with pedals, discovered that wasn't great. All the way up, I won't say 99 because it's probably gonna be a 100-year-old that's gonna ride it soon, but the idea is that you don't need motors, it's quiet, you don't need infrastructure, you don't need complicated build process. So.
And to add to that, it's also a compact feature. You don't need elevation really associated with it, hence why we're talking about the different plot of land within the rec corridor. It fits nicely within that space.
So why are we proposing this project? Well, as we said, we're parents, we're also riders. And we know that we want to have our kids ride along with us, and in order to do so, they need to build their skills. I, for instance, live on the section of Sudden Valley Drive that isn't really safe for riding a bike, so my son and I will come down here to the library parking lot, we ride a lot. We'll go to the sand pit here, or we ride up and down the trail to the golf course. But to navigate obstacles and things, we want to have an opportunity for kids to experience that in a safe space. So did a little bit of head count here. My son's a student at Geneva. And so he's one of the 300 there. We also just recognizing, we do have some trails here in the valley, but not really a fully connected system just yet, right? That would be suitable. The other thing that's really nice about a pump track is that it's a really confined space and meshes really nicely with the existing features and amenities here in the corridor. That, for instance, my wife and I can sit in one spot and watch our son in the playground and watch, if you want to go to the pump track, we don't really have to move. We can see both of those things. Or we're sitting with other parents, like making an errand, we can hang out and observe all that in a very confined space. We don't have to worry about them wandering off into traffic or whatnot. They keep busy in this track area. So I think the proposal site we've made clear here, 2 different views of this, utilizing the grassy space between the pickleball courts and the pool. We did a lot of research on this. I think it'll come up in our proposal. We thought about a couple different sites, Area Z, the old airstrip. One section of the neighborhood has a green space. We were thinking about putting in a kid-size pump track. We talked about that for a while and realized we were going to invite some traffic problems. But this space, I think, probably speaks for itself, but we know we have parking, we have daylight, we have the other amenities nearby. We've got restrooms, we have water, we have ample space to build. And again, and it's kind of confined on a couple different sides, so you don't have kids wandering off doing, and having to worry about that as a parent or as a caregiver.
For that spot, actually, it was originally recommended to consider that spot by Joanne, the former GM to us. That's why that is as the main location in there, and we actually in the first place thought it's too good to be up for grabs for our purposes, but it is really a great location for that purpose. So.
Yeah, did anybody, she brought up an interesting problem she was trying to solve last summer about folks riding bicycles around Lake Louise. Does anybody party to that conversation at all? She had said she was having trouble with that folks were, all good intention, nobody's trying to do anything wrong, but riding bicycles around the lake, and she asked us, well, what do you think about that? I said right away, no, that's no good, I don't like that there. Because we should say we're cyclists, but we don't believe that bicycles should be everywhere, just like horses should be everywhere, cars should be everywhere. So what she sort of proposed this site, she really got excited about this site being over here because she's like, well, that would really draw kids off of, or whomever it is that's riding bicycles around Lake Louise, which is problematic. The sight lines are poor, it's not made for bicycles, the different, walking, dogs, bikes, that's a mess. No, I would never want that. So she thought, oh, well, this is really great. When we walked over to she saw it in that light. When we draw folks away from places they're trying to ride, trying to make their activities fit what they want to do, but in the wrong place. So we as cyclists and Bellingham residents, we all have a deep experience in trail building, in planning, in project management, in riding these trails and maintaining them. And so this is what we have to offer to this group and to community association and the community at large, is our expertise in getting these types of things done. This isn't anything like experimental or fringe or pioneering in any way. This is a type of track and type of feature that folks want because they already know about it. And we feel that folks would really be drawn to it, very excited about it, because, for instance, you don't have to get your kids and load up in the vehicle and drive into town or Whatcom Falls Park to that pump track to enjoy it. And I think, are the survey results in the proposal packet too?
And they're in the bigger detail proposal.
Okay, and we also performed a survey of the community, was it 21? What year did we?
22, I think.
22. Had several hundred respondents to our survey, and the results indicated a strong support for more trails, for hiking and for cycling, and more access to recreation opportunities overall.
The other piece in that how as well though is not only toot our own horn in terms of having project management experience, building experience, is also the connection that we bring to WMBC, the Whatcom Mountain Bucket Coalition, whose full-time role is to build these trails, has been a major player in building the contracts elsewhere in town, and so can leverage that expertise as well and be a connection between the Sudden Valley Board and Long Range Planning Committee to WMBC.
And historically, the club hadn't really tried to get any projects built out here just because their leadership felt it was sort of inappropriate to interact with the HOA. They weren't, the stakeholders on the leadership board weren't residents here, and so it just felt like kind of a mismatch. So we aren't acting on their behalf because we are. It's a happy accident that we're homeowners that are club members and talk. When we brought up this project, well, if you want any of our support, we'd have to do it, but it was always our idea.
Yeah.
To bring to this group. We're the stakeholders. And so the timeline being here, we're very, very aware of all the land, the soil disruption and land use restrictions during the wet period of the year. And we are aware that the permitting process can take a while. And so our idea would be to try to break ground for this summer. And while that is an aggressive plan and an aggressive timeline, we do want to describe how pump tracks in general are very, very modular. They can take up any space that you'd like them to take up. It's not like a swimming pool, an Olympic swimming pool must be these dimensions, or or baseball field has to be these dimensions or soccer field. Pump tracks can be very organic in shape, take up as much or as little space as you have available to them. That's what's wonderful about them. And we also recognize that, we like to do a beginner level track as Lake Whatcom Falls Park has, to do a beginner sized track for the little ones here. And perhaps, again, given tighter timelines in our ambitions, perhaps it would be realistic and appropriate that we might open that this summer and think about the next phase for the next build season. But again, I don't want to, set anything in stone. We are modular in our approach, and we're adaptable in our approach to bring this feature to the community in a sensible way, in the right-minded, well thought-out way. The budget here, I think Michael can speak to this a little bit, having a direct experience in bringing such a project to life very recently. And then our experience with working on pump tracks here in town. We're projecting a budget around $65,000 to $80,000.
That's what we did up at Suncadia. Just want to pass my iPhone around. See that.
Has anybody been out to Suncadia, by the way? North Cleon? Yeah. Well,
Nelson, Nelson Farm.
yeah, tremendous.
The,
And how much was that?
Sorry,
How much?
that entire complex was $1 million, but the pump track itself was 100,000. So that is, you'll notice a paved pump track surface, or actually it's not paved, it's like a rubberized surface. The graded surface though that they're describing, you can just move the features, the berms and the rollers with earth moving equipment, water compacted, but that was how they started up at Suncadia.
so like Dan mentioned, the reason we're giving a range here is like, this is from our experience and from our communications with WNBC about where it starts at 65 for that plot of land. Depending on the requirements, design requirements, for example, if you say like, hey, we would like to have a lot of landscaping on this, we want to kind of like go back to nature, bring in plants, that's gonna then raise the cost. Also, if you say like, yeah, you can build on this plot, but only use half of it, that's gonna eventually change. So that's why we've given a range here rather than a number.
That represents a lot of sweat equity though. It really does, from your point of view.
Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah, thanks, yeah. And I guess I didn't really say it, but, while the three of us, four of us are here on behalf of the club, we have a roster of about 40 folks as trail builders, as local residents, mostly all homeowners. And everybody's, ready to pick up a shovel and dig too. So with respect to, hey, who's gonna get this work done? It isn't just, the four of us in this room at all. I try to think of all things that you would,
We also,
I assume that
we also started building followership on social media, Instagram, and we just cracked 100 there, I think, without really like, I think we started in December.
Yeah.
So there's definitely interest and followership that is building, and momentum that is building.
Yeah, a couple of screenshots of folks who have messaged me over the last 5 days, like, how can I help and what can I do? And be happy to, participate in any way that I can, because the pump track would be exciting. Now, and we're not talking about specifics about a pump track, but in terms of trail features, like I'm not trying to get over our skis on this, we're talking about on our Instagram channel, like, hey, would it be great to have some more channels, more recreation opportunities in general? What do you think about that? Folks, overwhelmingly very supportive of it.
It's also what we have done as a group so far, just with the idea of like, hey, we're trying to build this. We have raised over $6,000 in funds within the last 6 weeks.
It was
7 weeks.
a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, just word of mouth. Everybody was just chimed in, Microsoft and a couple of their corporate donations, just let us know. So we feel like that barrier would be.
Yeah, keep that rolling.
Exactly.
That's also part of the
will probably approve it.
the budget and how we're proposing is that we actually would raise funds for this project. So we're not asking for the full amount from Sun Valley. What we are proposing is actually that we would, for example, go in with a fund matching type of scheme where if we end up at the 65 for the project, then we would go and raise 32.5, and Sun Valley would then spend the other half. So that's our pitch to that part.
Awesome, that's good.
There's also some economies of scale involving some of the equipment that we already have, the earth moving equipment, the smaller track hose that we have, and the backhoe.
So technically, it would be possible to also, like, if we just get the okay to build this, but there's like Sun Valley doesn't want to spend anything. In the worst case, like we would also have the ability to go in and say like, hey, we just built this with shovels all by ourselves. The problem with that is that it would take forever and it would not look nice for a long time, because you would just have a construction site then for a whole year there. So, but again, that's where we are kind of like wanting your feedback to then plan accordingly with what your expectations are.
So open the floor to questions.
Absolutely.
We got 5 minutes that we could do here.
Yeah.
Anybody, go ahead.
That was my last slide.
Please, Rick. So, you know, it's very exciting to see this much energy and enthusiasm for something that definitely provides a benefit to the community, especially for your families and kids. I think the biggest obstacle will be getting past land use planning, where they call it.
That's right.
Because I measured 150 feet and it wipes out your whole track.
Right.
And they're talking about 200 feet previously.
Right.
So that particular spot, I don't know what sorts of exceptions or exemptions that they provide, but I don't think there's very many under the construction.
Right, and that's why, you know,
Yeah,
there are other options out there. I mean, you know, potentially this is really the best spot, but we also want to know, like, there's a lot of dirt that could potentially be moved on that site to mitigate or address erosion problems. I don't know. I think there are a lot of creative ways, a lot of questions to be asked to determine in what ways.
yeah, I'm just afraid that particular spot is not gonna,
So,
unless you go up the hill.
Right.
Right, I totally agree with you. You know.
This is definitely a tricky spot. We have been out with Eric Brown, the head of WNBC on Friday, and checked the spot. I think what it comes to at the end of the day is like how we sell this project for the permitting. For example, with like one big thing is going to be mitigation, which also could influence the cost of the project. The other thing that we can do probably is, since we're already behind a trail that is closer to the creek within structure, if we can sell the whole project, maybe even together with the Barn 8 renovation as one project that would improve the location for the watershed, meaning that we would install local plants. We would replace some of the grass with mulch, for example, do all those steps in the sign of the track. We could actually make something that is better for the watershed than what is there right now. And that then hopefully would lead to us getting the permit to build on this property.
That'd be great. I just don't want you to get your hopes up too
We
high.
are aware of that. It's a tricky spot, but I think it's worth the fight.
Yeah, it's worth a look for sure.
Adam, got a question?
So have you had any conversations with the county yet, as far as any sort of, I mean, it's kind of tough to do when you're not the property owner, you don't have permission, but that would be my first recommended step would be to talk to Michael Kirshner, someone in county stormwater, because they're gonna, you know, they may tell you right away that no, we're not gonna let any sort of new development here, or you're in a stream buffer and you can, you know, it's gonna impact a few thousand square feet.
Sure.
You know, whatever, you know.
Yeah, as I said at the top of the presentation, we went up to the line of like, what should we ask and what should not ask, and no, we didn't. I didn't want to. We didn't have permission, but this isn't our land. I mean, formally speaking, so the answer is no.
Well, maybe the question really is to ask for permission to talk to the county from Sudden Valley, ask Sudden Valley, can we talk to the county about these options? And then ask the county, what options are present that you could approve or we could work with.
I like that framing, yeah.
I think getting permission from Sudden Valley to talk to the county about it, there's no commitment, but it's certainly Sudden Valley acknowledging, yeah, it's possible. If the county can see the value of doing it, where would they recommend it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Offhand, does anyone know how far the Whatcom Falls pump track is from Whatcom Creek? I'm trying to,
That's an interesting question.
because I'd be curious of what process they went through there, because it's gonna have a buffer. But they're putting a feature in a developed park, which may also have different weight.
That's, yeah, it'd be 800 to 1,000.
Okay.
I mean, it's really
It's further.
far. It's really, I mean, you're up on a plateau way above.
It's
It's
not
a
like,
good thought, but
it's not like you're building a building or anything like
That's
that.
right.
You're just building something that's made out of dirt.
That's precisely.
So the
it.
impact of it is very, very minimal.
There-
It's dirt moved around in a different format.
Exactly, and that's why I was saying, like, if we can, for example, sell it rather as sustainable landscaping,
Right.
and like revitalizing trails and paths that are used by the community anyways, then that might be the pitch that can get it through. Whereas if we were to say we're gonna build like a paved type of installation and whatever, then we're looking at a completely different set of rules and requirements.
Yeah, right.
Go ahead, Ken.
Okay.
And then we're going to wrap this up.
That's right.
Sorry, we got a big agenda.
Was it 1,800 students at Geneva? Is that the number?
It's 299 this year.
300.
Yeah, 299.
Plus the parents, of course. Yes,
yeah.
right?
And
All parents.
that's only Geneva Elementary.
Right.
There is other students in that age group that go into other elementary schools in
And mid-level
Bellingham,
schools,
so
right.
that
And,
age group is bigger than 300.
And you didn't do the other school too, the mid school.
No, I only talked to
Right, so
Geneva. and they
there's
did
quite a
it.
few more.
Yeah.
Right,
I think
there's,
that
quite a few.
the community interest is probably here.
right, because there's, you got grade.
1,400 kids.
You didn't count grades 6, 7, 8.
And that's 2001 census data, 2021 census
Yeah,
data.
that's the old one.
Yeah, so.
Right, plus all the parents, so that's actually quite a few people of Sudden Valley, right,
Yeah.
that could be interested. So my opinion, if I had 2 cents worth here, is that, anything you can do to get kids off electronics today, right?
Yes.
Right, whether, like, I have 3 grandchildren here and a daughter, and, swimming, boating, golfing, right, cycling, motorbikes, whatever. I'm a big fan of, and if you take that 300 people plus the mid-school plus the parents, it's a lot of people at the end of the day, right? And again, what you're doing is it's dirt, right? It's nothing permanent, right?
Yeah.
The effects, and maybe what you have to look at is something a little bit smaller because of the area. I think that the location is great from the point of view, you could have somebody in the pool, somebody at the pump track, everybody's kind of like, it's a great area to convene, right? And this area's got a lot of attractions to it. So maybe it has to be made a little smaller because of where it is or something like that. But the idea also that you guys have got some skin in the game, right? Like you're prepared to go out and raise money because you believe in it, right? I think that's awesome. And I think your presentation is done very well as well. Have you ever been involved in building a track before?
Okay.
Yeah.
Involved.
So you were involved in building it. Do you guys have a bank account?
This group does not yet. This is.
VZ has one, yeah.
Huh?
But VZ has one.
Oh, did he set
and
it
then
up?
we have pledges, yeah, he set up an account,
Yeah.
and then we have the pledges on top of that, so.
You're looking for annual maintenance.
No, you guys have to raise money and, make sure, right?
Yeah, so
Do all that, right?
the bigger money raising would happen through WNBC, so the way WNBC works with that is they set up a specific account for a project. That then holds the funds for this project. So right now, for example, they have sitting the complete funds for a project in Lummi, which is on hold because of permitting issues and the neighborhood not suddenly agreeing to everything anymore. But the funds are there and they're secure. The thing that happens though, if that stays too long, is that they're not worth the same thing anymore than when they were donated, so.
Got it.
But
So we need to wrap this up,
Yeah.
gentlemen.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah.
Presentation is nice. I appreciate this for everybody.
Yeah.
So we'll have a chance to review this. We do review, and we propose to the board, and the board makes a vote, or you'll hear back.
Yeah.
In the near future, I can't say when.
Yeah.
If you would like, so this, what I was hoping to is kind of like get the feedback for you, from you to kind of like update and bring this to a point where it might be better to vote on from the board rather than giving
But
this.
that,
to
that would be
from
nice,
the-
but we're gonna have a discussion
Yeah.
after you guys.
Yeah.
do it.
Let's let them.
Yeah, absolutely, but like, feel free to come back to us, I'm happy to put the work in.
You've got all your
revising this
contact
for-
information. If we have a list of questions from
Yeah.
our get together, we can contact.
We have
All
all
of
of
us.
all their names and numbers.
Yeah, it's in here.
Last
They did a good job on it.
It was good talk.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, well
So
done,
Dan,
guys.
we're gonna be the main guy.
Please, yeah, you want to keep it central.
All right, yeah, appreciate it.
And if anybody's out,
Coming out.
oh,
Appreciate you guys.
Nice to see you all. Thanks for listening to our actions.
No.
Yeah.
Great
Great
stuff,
Great.
great stuff.
And for anybody,
Yeah, you-
if you're
About
down,
the kids, that's good.
yeah, if you're downtown this weekend, seek out Trackside, which is the big, there's a track.
Right now.
Well, it's a month, but what I wanted to see is the scale of that, that you have all kinds of fun amenities there for riding bikes, as well as this community area to have food and whatnot, and all that golf, but they just signed a 10-year agreement with the port to keep that there.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
like, it
Great
just-
deal.
I just learned it, so it's very exciting.
Good deal. Let's
All
give
right,
these
thanks,
guys a
David.
hand, okay? Nice.
How mouths of jerk can cost so much.
Yeah, I tell you.
I can tell you many stories. My life.
What's nice is they're all part of our community.
Right.
All these guys, I mean, they're doing this for the kids. That's pretty awesome.
I think it's awesome too.
I think it's a good thing.
I'm with you as far as any kind of activity. we
Yeah.
can promote for children. Because if you don't have a pump track, what they try and do is get into the new tennis courts and then
Yeah.
tear them out, so.
I've already been down that road.
You know, yeah. So having a pump track, in my opinion, I think it's a great idea.
And they're
cost
that too. It's reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Yeah, very reasonably. And they're prepared to raise money, right? I
Well,
mean,
I heard that, but then, all right, you're prepared to go ahead and raise annual maintenance costs too.
sure, so that's part of it, but you know, at least to get in there at the beginning and say, hey, we're putting up half.
There's nothing more expensive than free kittens.
Well, there's boats.
Yeah.
So a free boat would be more expensive than a free kitten.
So they're,
Yeah, let's
they're
go.
talking about volunteers to help maintain the pump track.
Right, yeah, right.
So-
Yeah, so they could do
Fully believe
that.
it.
Passion is there.
Right, yeah, they have a passion to deal with it, like, it's like breaking a sand trap after you golf.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
It's hard to
Something to
maintain a group of volunteers long-term. I mean, I remember when we had a very active group of people who maintained the trails here. And, you know, the leader moved away and then other people moved and got old, and now there's hardly any volunteers that work on trails.
You know, Elizabeth, I agree with you. It's hard to keep that sustained participation. What I kind of see different here is our community is moving with more and more families with younger kids moving in. And this is a younger kid activity. Now, I think it aims to them, but the cool thing is, it's dirt. You don't like it anymore? Move the dirt. We don't have a structure, a building, utilities, nothing.
Could we, have them put up a bond so that if it did fall through 5-10 years from now, that would pay to, you know, get rid of it?
I think that in one day, if you got a piece of equipment from the maintenance factory, you could flatten it out. and put
My
some-
rock is right there.
It's aggressive.
Yeah, my just Mike.
Grass is not the world's best thing.
Well, I mean, they put up, something like this had to go away. How long would it take to make something like this go away?
I don't know, a day
Couple days with a bulldozer?
at least.
not hard.
Not hard. We have
It's not gonna
one.
The building is what requires a lot of the more expensive bulldozer work because they actually have to use skill and be accurate. Design to be careful, whereas.
But that's installing it.
Yeah.
I can tell you from
Yeah.
demolition.
That's what
It
it
doesn't
demo
take much
part, yeah.
skill.
That's what you
No,
said.
yeah, the demo part takes.
But still, yeah, you're just pushing around.
What
It's
happens
fine.
when it rains?
So kind of the sense is that we kind of like the idea,
Right,
just,
so-
there's a whole lot to do.
I think they should go to the county. We should have them get permission from the association, from the board.
To talk to the county.
And talk to the county. Is this feasible or are we chasing our tail?
Right, well, is this real?
And maybe have them go with other parcels in mind as backup, so they don't have to make more than one.
Take a map of the association.
Right.
There's 21 named parks here.
Yeah, and so.
Yeah, I would like to see it in some other place.
A lot of parking right there.
Yeah, it's.
I gotta say that.
Well, you know, there's the whole airport area that they could have quite a bit of stuff there.
So I always thought that, I've thought of, different places for contract here for, several years, just hearing it. And the airstrip was definitely one of them. And one of the, it's got decent access off Lake Whatcom. One of the, it would have a pretty cool video, the airstrip pump track or, something. Place, fly to the airstrip.
You couldn't land, you wouldn't be able to land there.
Oh, you could.
It would be a
I think it's good.
So the consensus is, if
Hey,
this-
Adam, we got a 40-acre parcel, they do nothing but throw frisbees at me.
Yeah.
So. Keep pushing. Well, one of the problems with the airstrip though is, and an activity like this is better with visibility. Meaning that like it's better seen. It's also, same as like skate parks. A skate park is
Right.
a better downtown where it's seen because one, the kids like to see it.
They want an audience.
They want an audience.
Right.
It's gonna keep it less of a
And
derelict, potential, problems because
the
it's
parents will
visible.
like it, there's visibility and it's easy to see. Yeah, if you have it back in the trees where the airstrip is, who knows what's gonna happen back there, right?
Where the
As you said, you get to see as a kid,
If
it's
there's,
easy to see.
heaven forbid an injury, but
Right.
I've ridden plenty of bikes.
Right.
And so,
so from this is what I'm hearing, everybody's like for it, but there's a whole lot more to do here. Do we need to send a message to the board to give them permission to go talk to Whatcom County, see if they can do anything?
That would be my recommendation.
I think that's all we have to do is say, hey, this is,
Does it get that from the board or just,
No,
can the GM give them permission
they need
to?
permission, there's more.
This
things
would be a
to talk.
talk, this would be a new amenity. I think that, I think you want the board to say, we would be open to a conversation about a new amenity. Talk to the county and let the GM know. If it was an existing activity, yeah, it's definitely the GM. But this is a new amenity, the county is gonna wanna know that the corporation would back it up.
Okay, that's where we're at on that.
What do you think, Mike?
And then, we're gonna move into the next item.
Perfect.
And the next item, it looks like, we need to approve the last, minutes from the last meeting. We didn't really have a last meeting, so there's nothing to do there. So that moves us on to number 5, and that's Rick. And Rick's gonna tell us what he put together, and I tell him what's going on with this.
So we are charged in our bylaws to do an annual survey of the members to find out what their desires are in terms of importance of projects, long-term, for the long-term planning committee to consider and prioritize. So I wrote a short article that's going to go into the February View. So they'll use a newspaper asking for member input. Just because there's challenges with writing a questionnaire that isn't kind of loaded in some way or another. So we just thought it'd be easier just to go straight to the member, ask for their input. We set up an email account to receive those responses.
Says long range planning committee at Sudden Valley. .com, and it comes to you and me.
Yeah.
So we'll get 2 guys and we will respond, we will collect the data. We're hoping to hear a whole lot from everybody.
It's a great idea.
Bring
Yeah.
it to the
I like it.
meeting.
Well, we kind of came up with our idea before we had a meeting, yeah.
So where are you getting the position in the paper on that? Are you getting a good position in the paper? You're gonna have to. I might want to talk to,
I don't know.
maybe Tanya about that, she's considered. looks at it
Well, you know,
before.
I'll be meeting with her.
Yeah, get a good position, right, so people see it, right?
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
People want, we want your input.
yeah, we got input, and actually, just today, we got input, I mean, Rick and I got one from, our board emails today. And it was a great idea, it was, Nick Webb, I don't know him, but he sent a great thing, he says, you know what? This is something you guys need to think of, is getting electric charge at the golf course. So guys that golf out of Seattle, they can charge their car while they golf and pay the primo price. And we need one in another location in Southern Valley, so they can charge the carts and charge the cars. And then I sent back some information, it's like, are you guys willing to pay for the charge? All the places I see charging, they're charging, you know? And I haven't seen the response back yet, but I mean, that's the kind of communication we need. Ideas like that, I mean, great, I don't have an electric car, but people do, and they're all over the place. And there's a lot of golf carts around, this many.
Rick, in your article, I think it would be good to say, hey, the committee, oh, look, we got 7 active members, we're meeting, we've already met twice. We're going to this, so don't consider this a waste of your energy. We're committed, we're going forward. We'll act on it, come on, participate.
You wrote the article, it was pretty good.
Yeah,
I read it.
It was pretty good, right?
Yeah, I think I'm across the point.
6 out of 10.
I wasn't as direct as
Mine was last Friday, so I can't really amend it.
Okay, well, there you go.
Okay.
Just to let you know.
Yeah, you're retired, you can do anything, you have a wand.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so we do want community input, if everybody's watching tape, we wanna hear what's on your mind. Send it in, we'll review it, talk about it. We need more input, we'll ask for more.
Thank you for writing the article and putting it in.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
My
And
pleasure.
then just- So the remainder of this time, I'm gonna give you like 3 to 5 minutes apiece. Kind of like brief you prior to maybe make a list of your, 7 to 10, just what's in your brain. We haven't got a whole lot of input from the neighborhoods or anything, but I think a lot of the input's gonna be a lot of the same things that might be on your hearts and your minds. And I'm gonna give you like 5 minutes to share. And Mitch, I got you last, just so you know. And I asked
I'm
Gary
feeling the
first.
love.
Yeah.
I didn't print out mine, I sent it to you.
I made copies of everybody so they can
okay.
see it, but I'll pass that out when you're gonna talk.
Okay,
But Gary is first, and then Adam, and then Ken, Elizabeth, Rick first, and Adam first. And then Mitch was on the wrap up, because a lot of the stuff is gonna get covered multiple times, but,
we'll have a new zinger I'm gonna throw on.
okay, so if we could listen to the hearts and minds, we all have good stuff, and, got the floor, Gary.
Yeah, so I didn't have a lot of time to think about this. I was in Mexico, and so
Oh, yeah, I know, you're.
80 degrees of sunshine and all that stuff.
Fries the brain.
Yeah.
Said the man who just came back from Arizona.
It was only 65.
So I have general ideas.
Okay.
There's a lot of amenities here that probably could use some tender love, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know if that's on the agenda.
It's what's
for-
on your agenda, John.
Well, I know, but I don't know if the board already
We
has
can
something
figure that out.
carved
We
out.
can figure that out.
Doesn't matter.
But, there's
Share your mind.
tennis courts in Gate 1. There's a lot of work, like Mitch put in here, that needs to be done with parking in the marina area where the the boats are, and it gets flooded in that area.
The pothole
Lots
that's
of
been there?
potholes. It looks more like a lake sometimes when it's raining, right? I was afraid to drive through it the other day, or not, but a few weeks ago when it was raining. Anyway, I think, doing the stuff that really needs to be done, that was established over the years as an amenity here, and has not either been maintained or completely ignored or whatever. We need to really, I think, focus on those things so that it's not a cost in the future, right? It's not a cost 10 years
So
down the road.
what's the top, you got potholes on there, what else is?
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got the tennis court and.
Tennis court and gate 2 got done.
Yes.
Okay, so gate 1 you're talking about?
Gate 1 and the basketball court there, they have this little basketball court, right?
Basketball, pickleball, court, ball.
Yeah, the whole thing, whole shoot.
So do all that. I think there's probably more things that could be done with that area as far as adding maybe a pump track or, I don't know,
Yeah.
but, or a skate park or something, activities for kids. A lot of people show up over there in Gate 1 at the marina. There's people that are dog lovers, there's people that just like the water, boating, everything. So that's a big community spot, not only this corridor here. And there's no reason why that can't be just as nice as this corridor here. So I think that's, a few of the things. Of course, something's got to be done with the barn. So
Okay, so the barn is on there, okay?
yeah.
I was wondering if that come up.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's gonna take, I don't know, Mitch might have all the answers. I haven't read through. I haven't read through all of his stuff, so.
Well, he usually has all the answers.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
anyway, but yeah, some way of coming up with the right, mixture of ideas to bring that all together, so.
Thank you, Gary, appreciate it. You got more to say, you're good?
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me first.
Thank you, Gary.
Adam, I give Adam a heads up.
All right,
Number 2.
going on with that.
Okay.
I've got kind of more, I guess, looking at it more of a kind of higher level, not necessarily picking out individual projects as priorities, but yeah, I'll just keep going here. So,
It's
yeah,
something,
so, I think, one, we need to work on emphasizing sustainability in our planning decisions from both financial and environmental viewpoints. If it's not sustainable financially, it's not a good buy. If it's not sustainable environmentally, it's probably not a good buy. So we live in a beautiful place. Everyone moves here generally because, it's $7 one of a kind, but the features that make it one of a kind also, make being sustainable a challenge. But prioritize long-range solutions to failing infrastructure. So avoid Band-Aids because Band-Aid works for a year or two, but while that Band-Aid's there, that building or whatever it's sitting on has gotten worse, and the cost of fixing it has risen 7% a year or so with inflation. So
you're talking about barney.
Any failing infrastructure.
Okay.
But we want to foster new and exciting, or new and existing partnerships with local government agencies, organizations like the group that was just here, with a water district or fire district, to create better opportunities for Seven Valley in our community. Which we work on having a better relationship with the county. We'll maybe receive better guidance as far as we do have questions. Like what came up with non-bike group, who do we talk to? Yes, I think it's just important that those relationships are good, so you don't end up feeling like we're neglected by the county or by the water district. When I analyze existing community-owned properties to maximize their uses, and see if is it something that can create non-use revenue, or is it something that we could use to be more sustainable to the environment. Balancing. Yeah, I lost my train, but just looking for low cost, low impact, low risk, sustainable uses of the property we have. But basically trying to maximize the benefit, not throwing a bunch of money.
You know, Adams, I really liked this. As I was looking at it, I was thinking to myself, these are not projects, as you said, they're higher up, but it's more like the prioritization matrix. For every project, you would ask yourself, is it sustainable? Is it this? Is it that? And it seems to me the list you have, which is a very good list, we might turn into a prioritization matrix to be able to rank proposals. Because the stuff really has input on every project you want to mention. What do you think?
Yeah, and that's kind of the level I was writing at, just because I didn't want to get in the weeds. I read yours, and it's like, okay, well, I can't get the detail on the project level like that, but that's kind of the.
But what you got there is really, if someone said, look, I want to do, I don't want to take your time up.
Yeah, let me
Resources, guidelines that we have to bring.
So, explore low investment ideas to increase non-dues revenue. One idea is getting thrown around, I guess here is a detail idea, but is having paid parking. We because of the way our situation is with allowing everybody from Whatcom County to come and, go to our marina or go anywhere on open spaces. But there's nothing that says we can't charge them to park.
We're allowed to legally.
Yeah, so, and it was brought up in the past, and there are some logistics involved with it, but the paid parking market or business has, just in the past few years has changed dramatically. Now, there's no pay box, there's no place to, you scan your phone on the QR code, you hit a button and you pay $5 to park and walk off and you're good to go. So the cost of running that is probably, I would imagine has been reduced. So it'd be something worth looking at, because we do, bring in quite a few people who,
And we might want to also control the amount of people that we bring in.
I do have a question about that.
We can go back to the detail.
So, and so looking at, different things like, pump track would probably attract people from Geneva or from Kay Lake. And if they're all, 20 of them come here a day, drop $5 to park while their kids ride the pump track. You can kind of see where that can go. So one of them I have here is exploring opportunities to preserve the history and character of Sudden Valley. One of my fond memories growing up was going to this place called the White House Ranch. It was in Colorado Springs, but it was like the old homestead ranch. I think they changed it to Rockland Ranch. But it was an old barn, and it had like the history of the whole thing. You walk, there's an old. And here we have maybe an old Zamboni, because I know we got one. But there is potential for, if we do find a replacement for someplace like Barn 8, instead of raising the whole thing, maybe it becomes almost a museum type. But it's balancing, is that something that would actually benefit the community, other than it's a nice dusty place to keep our Zamboni. But I think that is something key, because there is a rich history in Sudden Valley. There's a lot more to it than, I moved here from Bellingham in 2017. It's right. There's a lot of history in this property. Let's see, prioritize plans for climate change resistance and forest management. We live in a forest. We've seen how the forest managers can cause damage, whether it's like climate change or as they're seeing down in California with the raging fires. It's something that should just be within our thoughts. I don't think our situation is dire where we live, but it is something that should be thought about in planning decisions. Looking at ourselves as a small city-sized community that has none of the clout is, I think, kind of the way we need to approach the way we're going to approach the counties and the city, or any other entities. We are a city in our size and in our, in just about everything in our functionality, but we get no benefits from the government. We get no help at our own. So yeah, just realizing that we need to continue to function as a city, but and finally is, and I think we're on a path to that, is listening, community engagement in our decision-making process constantly. Getting, anytime we can get member input on, plans and input, I think it should be, welcomed and, whether it's making sure that people know when our meetings are and can come and talk or submit questions to the email, which I think is actually, I think we're well on our way with that, so. Yeah, that's.
I think it's number 8.
Oh, I did. That's an important one too. Increase connectivity and visibility of the existing community trails and park networks.
Yes.
So knowing, connecting the trails together, and then by visibility, meaning that, a map of them is easy to find. It's interesting because on one of the Facebooks, Dan was just in here, was asking about one of the trails. And finally somebody posted the link to the map that one of the rec managers a while ago had put together the master plan.
Oh.
And there's a few maps that are on the website that are actually, they're Google map links or
Really?
something that show, that show the wide the trail up in Gate 5 and
Good deal.
but we've got a pretty cool collection of trails that are almost connected together. I walk probably for an hour a day with I've got a very, very anxious Australian Shepherd, and we live over in Gate 3, and we just go on a road, walk to its dead end. There's usually a trail going down an abandoned road that didn't get built.
Good deal. Super. I appreciate what you brought. Valuable, very valuable. And as Mitch mentioned, you can probably use it as a matrix of the line. Everything. Ken, what do you have for us? Going back from Scottsdale.
Yeah. Thanks, Ray.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start off by saying, I think a lot of the reasons that people live in Sun Valley, when I look back at why we're here, right? We got the water, the access to the lake, we got golf, we got the trails, we got reasonable housing costs, right? And that's what brings us here. And I think when it comes to the long term planning and what we should get involved in, one of the things we should always keep in mind is that people live here because it's reasonable to live here, and we got to make sure we use their dues very efficiently and effectively, right? That being said, a couple of things that I have in mind is that when it gets busy in Sun Valley in the summer, right, we really see a lot of congestion at the marina, right? And are those all Sun Valley residents? Maybe, maybe not, right? We don't really know. But unless we do something about it and say, okay, if you're a Sun Valley resident, of course you're more than welcome to be there. But if you're not a Sun Valley resident, maybe there's a cost to being there. Like you said, it's very simple to put out a system to pay. People, hey, you gotta pay for parking, scan here, pay here, right, and away you go. And that deters some people, but also brings in some revenue, which offsets the dues. So it's a very efficient, and we reduce the congestion, or we bring in revenue, or do a bit of both. So I think we need to look at that. I think we need to look at parking down at that marina. Maybe we can do a little bit better job of where everybody is parking. I think the dog park is a bit of a disaster, the potholes and things like that. But when you walk there, it's really not super welcoming, and the dogs are right against the water. I'm not so sure if we can maybe look at that area, and there could be something better. I also think that the Rotunda area is an area maybe that we could look at as far as utilizing that area for something. Something we should think about. Obviously, the barn and a community center, we all need a place we can all congregate, right? And that's on the agenda of everybody, looking at what we could do there, how much we can utilize it, whether we could bring in weddings or different things. That's all something that this committee needs to talk about. Adam, you brought up preserving history. I mean, the history here is great, right? It used to be a farm, used to be a ranch, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And bring the grandkids down here and go, that used to be a barn, and this thing used to be a big farm ranch at one time, right? And people came in and developed it, like, what, really? All that type of thing. And having a storybook or something like that would be great. People love that type of thing,
Absolutely.
Right? The history. And then the other thing that I think you touched upon is the fact that we all pay taxes here, and we don't get much for it.
Yeah.
Right? So we pay dues and we pay taxes. The taxes go to the city, and what are we getting for that? So maybe we need to set up, I know there's some people that could get involved with the city, say, look, we pay you taxes, right? What are we getting for those taxes that we're paying? You know, and are we getting the maximum benefit of those dollars, and should we be getting something back? So maybe as far as a long range, maybe that's something we could set up and look at. So those are just some of the ideas, aside from some of the other things that were said that I thought of.
Good. Well, thank you, Ken. Appreciate that. Education did you good down there. It's good. Why, it's good. Well, this
So
is.
I was really happy to hear that you joined.
Yeah, I'm just happy now. You know, you're talking about the history.
Yeah.
But of course, and you're talking about why people come here to live. But let's talk about why people leave. And the main reason people leave Sudden Valley, and we're talking about good, strong, well-to-do residents, but they reach a point where there are no services if you're aged. And I think one of the things, well, I've been talking about this for years.
Talk about it now.
We need a senior center. If we had a senior center, I mean, let's face it, could we have a lunch program in this room?
Not big enough.
No, of course not. And there's no kitchen. If we had a senior center, we could have that. We could have a place for the seniors to come and relax and talk with each other. They could do a history. The gym. Well, if you're needing to do therapy and say you've got a walker or a wheelchair, you can't go to the gym to do that because the door doesn't let you in if you're handicapped. And I've been talking about that for years. We have terrible access for anybody who is aged or handicapped. And when did they run that law through the country? 1965? And we're a little behind on getting things fixed. I'm with the garden club, and we have a pretty good group of volunteers, but I know how hard it is to sustain that. The garden angels, there's about 5 of them, and they take care of this garden here. And now that the county is going to be putting in a garden by the Whatcom Center. Didn't know about that already, did you?
We play
Okay.
on the board.
Yeah.
They probably don't know about it.
No.
Well, they wanted to put in a native plant display garden with, labels and everything. It looks like it's going to be lovely. But they want us to maintain it. So that's something, I'm gonna have to try to figure out how to stretch the volunteers. There's just not enough rooms or places to have anything. You're talking about not getting any services out of the county. Well, we could get a lot of services out of the county if we had a place to put it. But, it was talking about having a senior center with some type of food thing or whatever, but the kitchen over there at the barn is pretty sad. Really not very clean or usable. To have groups of interest, people who have interests, they have to have a place to congregate. They have to have a place to get together. They have to have a place that's big enough to have groups that talk and get together and plan and do things. We've lost so many rooms, just plain rooms, that I mean, this is like it. A few years back, I did a newcomers, orientation. We had 56 people in here and that was against the fire rates. And I could do that every year. The needle nonsense or whatever they're called. It would be lovely if they had a place they could go and have sewing machines and stuff. It would be nice if there was a single seat over in the barn that a senior could get out of. You sit on those couches, that's it, you can't get out. There is a lump of seniors, baby boomers. Over the next 10 years, we're gonna see more and more people hitting those ages. They don't want a pump track. Most of them can't handle, they're not gonna be able to handle trails. We've got a lot of stuff here for kids, but we need to look at some way that a lot of our residents can age in place.
Yes.
Because, I've known a number of people who, first they sell the house and they move into a condo here, but still there's nothing for them here. And so then they move out to some kind of assisted living place in another place. Why don't we have an assisted living place here?
Good idea. Okay.
And we spent, from the time I moved here, we've done nothing but not maintain structures. And this year we're gonna, the buck has stopped. We're gonna have to do something. I looked through the engineering report and it's obvious that the barn is not safe. Well, it's been obvious for years the barn is not safe. To try to fix it is gonna cost a fortune. We need another, either a large building that has different uses, or we need a lot of medium-sized buildings. Anyway, if you get people together, then you will have the volunteers that you need to maintain the trails, to sweep the pump track or whatever. That was the way this was back in 2000.
Wow.
It was a volunteer, there was so many volunteer groups that was one of the reasons it was not a terribly expensive place to live. But now, we've lost a lot of people, a lot of seniors, and we've lost places for them to gather, and we've lost volunteers because of that. So, okay, so senior center, and I think we just need a whole new building, but another thing we need is a communications system. There is such a lack of people knowing what's going on. When I moved here in 2000, we had a TV station, Channel 11. And it just ran like little signs.
It's a good idea.
That, it would be like garden club, Tuesday, this and that, and the subject will be, hellebores or something, and then the next one would be the Lego club for the kids, and you could it took about 15 minutes. I'd get up in the morning, I'd grab my tea, I'd flip the TV on. And in about 15 minutes, I knew everything that was going on here. We lost that to the evil empire. Somehow Bellingham ended up with that, I'm not too sure how that happened. But
What's the evil empire?
Bellingham.
Bellingham,
Bellingham is the evil
oh
empire.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay, I just want.
So said here.
It's not like something totally nefarious or, okay.
No,
Gotham City.
And over the years, and I've been involved with various clubs and groups and things, and the best way to get the message out was signs at the gates. Now, some of the signs that they still put up are too small to read, or they get faded or whatever. And I think, now I haven't done a lot of shopping for this, but I'm sure that there's some way we could put remote controlled electronic signs at each one of the gates that people would see every time they came and went.
Oh, nice.
So,
Great, yeah.
okay, anyway, I've got a whole long list of things.
We'll give Rick a spot, we'll give Rick a chance.
Yeah,
But thank you,
but
Elizabeth.
anyway,
Thank
that's,
Thank you.
and, you know, I'm not going to be real happy about putting in things for younger people, for active people, for children, when we don't even replace the senior center, which we had. This would used to be the senior center.
You got that on the list there, Rick, right? Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Rick, to share it in which.
Well, many of these things have been covered, but let's see. So my personal feeling is, I think the barn decision is like another thing we've got to really come to some sort of decision on to make some recommendation to the board.
Barney.
Barn 8, barn 6, whatever, that whole issue there. And as Ben referred to earlier, you know, in terms of getting volunteer programs going up again, non-dues revenue, especially in some vacant spaces like the clubhouse. I also had communication, more to also include emergency preparedness system. I also had coordination with other agencies. I had maybe looking at our security reassessment issues. Marina shoreline stabilization, maybe, tree management that was referenced earlier, and then leadership development for future committee and board members.
Marina shoreline is important, there's a lot of erosion. For sure.
Thank you, appreciate that very much. Mitch, I'd love to put you last on purpose, because I think you did a really awesome job on your list of 7 items with details. So if anybody does not have a copy of Mitch's list, I have it here. I have copies for everybody. I'll give one to Mitch too, so you remember what you wrote that night you wrote.
I wrote this stuff?
Oh, you wrote.
What was I thinking?
Anybody need? There you go. It went all the way down to the Avery down there. Yeah, the 3 pages.
That's one sheet. Oh, that's all one list.
Three sheets.
I'll get one from.
No, 3 pieces. I got.
He's got enough.
I got enough.
Oh, a rough one.
I think
Thank you.
I need one now. I gave mine.
Oh, okay.
By the way, you're Mike Brock,
I'm Chad Avery.
your chat.
Chad Avery.
So what are you, Chad, here in this association?
I'm a guest tonight observing
And so what is it you're observing? What is it for?
how you guys conduct business and to see if I can get vetted to possibly join you folks.
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
All you have to do is be breathing.
So you're just a resident that wants to see what's going on? Is that what you're saying? Oh, awesome.
He's from gate 13.
Well, welcome.
Oh, this would be good.
This is,
How long have you been here?
I'm at gate
I've
13.
been in Sun Valley as a resident for 2.5 years. So it's great that you're getting involved. Right?
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. You can move closer if you want.
Yeah, you look like you're like staff or something. You can come on over. You don't have cooties
Well,
anymore.
I thought that was a good question.
I thought it was Mike Brock.
Well, I knew he wasn't Mike Brock.
I never met Mike Brock.
I just figured he was with the bicycle.
I rolled with it when you asked me about the bulldozer. A couple days.
I had a professional answer from a guy who was like, "We blow you off." That was great.
Anywhere between 2 days and 2 weeks.
Hey, sometime in the course of the year, you can get it done. The item that's not on here, and I thought about it during the course of the week, is wildfire management. We have 1,800 acres, and we have a tremendous amount of burnable material at low grade that will be Palisades, will be one of those things. We're soggy valley, but we do get dry. And I think that it would behoove us to, I'm thinking this is like $1 million job. I think it would be a wise thing, not $1 million, to have a contractor come in and tell us how we can reduce our wildfire risk,
Yes.
right? There is about $1 billion in realty equity in this association, right? Average price of a house last month, $544, 2,400 plus homes, right? Go ahead and do the math. We had about $1 billion in realty equity. And the highest priority of an HOA is to protect the members' financial equity. And I don't think we've ever, as an association, said, oh yeah, all right, Firewise, screw Firewise, let's take this with steroids. How do you go ahead and really reduce it to a point where insurance companies will not be fleeing from Sudden Valley because we're a fire risk? I think that needs to be on the list.
Yeah.
All right.
I've heard rumors of insurance companies already either severely raising rates or dropping people outright.
Outright. So I think it would behoove us to, as an association, protect the members' equity. We can see what's happening everywhere else, and this aligns with what you were saying about climate change and everything else. I think we should have a serious conversation about that. Now, I brought in a forest manager who wants to do a forest management study. This is a completely different issue. I think we need to bring in someone with a real specialty for how you would bring in heavy equipment over a course of 2 years and working with the county and reduce, it would change what we would look like. But I don't think it would be a bad thing.
Whistler has fire risk management program, Whistler, and the amount of money that's spent there, big forest area.
Yeah.
Some are huge, like billions of dollars of homes, right? They're like 2 million each. So every year they take a path and reduce the risk, right? And take out trees and prevent it from jumping and do things like that. Every year they just, because this risk is so high, you can't have Whistler burned down.
We can't have Sudden Valley burned down.
We can't have Sudden Valley burned.
So I think it would behoove us, and it's in the members' best interest that we do it.
I agree.
So,
So it's something
okay.
we should look at.
Now,
I've got some some of the things that they do in other places where there's a higher fire danger destroy the viability of the forest. I mean, all the stuff we have growing on the ground, that's where the little critters live.
I don't disagree. As to destroying the forest, the one thing I remember from the forest management plan, and last we put it online, so I have no idea if it's still online or not. But they said our forest is becoming so overgrown, it's not healthy because we're not selectively removing trees that are taking away the nutrients for the bigger trees to thrive.
So I guess the purpose of the meeting tonight really is just say, hey, wildlife risk assessment is something we should look at, period.
That's it.
And not debate it tonight,
Okay.
Yeah,
right?
I
Let's
agree.
just put it on the table,
Have
we'll
somebody,
debate it at another
Yeah.
time.
Absolutely, let's roll on your list.
but have people who know this area. I mean, we have people moving in here from California and they're going, oh my God, it's gonna burn, it's gonna burn, it's gonna be like paradise.
Oh.
And we don't have that kind of forest.
I understand. As I said,
Yeah.
it's sometimes known as Soggy Valley, all right? But we should take a look at the risk.
There's some well-experienced forests nowadays out in this.
There are a lot. Okay, so the list I sent out, I thought about things and I kicked around. I thought the Barn 8 issue, from my perspective, what are we gonna do with it? Something's gonna get done with it, or it will collapse on its own, or we'll be told to collapse it because it becomes a health risk. So what does the community want? Same thing with Barn 6. We shouldn't destroy Barn 6. We got rid of 2 buildings. Unfortunately, another board took out the foundation, which I wish they would have never done.
That was so stupid.
That was completely stupid. Now you can't build on it. All right? But we took out the rotunda and that's gone. And but the foundation is still there and the utilities are there, and that could be a senior center. All right, it wouldn't be hard to put a structure, a temporary structure, port them out and start building on that and put a senior center over there, because all the utilities be left in gray. But we need to figure out Barn 8, we need to figure out Barn 6. I think we have to figure out what we're gonna do converting the empty clubhouse offices into usable space. There's revenue potential there. I mentioned third-party funding to build and install a solar megawatt power plant at Airstrip. There's a revenue potential. I like third-party funding because it's reduced risk to us, it's revenue building. It puts the risk on someone else, a capital investor. Same thing, third-party funding to build and install self-storage areas at Area Z, if we still have the space after we put in the new structure out there. And in the absence of that, at the airport, then go ahead and put the solar power plant up, but build it tall enough as they do in schools and throughout all of California, so your collectors are much higher, and have boat parking underneath that we charge for.
Nice.
Well, make up more space for the marina.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. And since you have a solar power plant there, it's like, okay, now we have lights, which means we have security, which means that we thin that area out, mindful of the critters, right? I love the woman. So mindful of the critters, but we can fence it. And now it's a double revenue generating plan. I think we need a long-term plan for that marina. You know, when I heard a past director tell me, oh, we fixed that marina problem for $26,000, I thought, oh, that was by freaking gravel. And without fines, that gravel doesn't go anywhere. And without drainage, it's still gonna be a lake.
It's a lake.
All right, so long-term plan for the marina, it's gotta be done. And I think that we have to present to the board the status of area-wide. So, look, area-wide, like 40 acres.
Where is that?
Okay, so Lake Waterman Boulevard, and where it turns right and goes to, is it Lake Louise Road?
Right.
Yeah. Area Y is on the southwest corner, 40 acres.
Really?
Yeah, we own it. We've been paying taxes on it since we first were established in 1970. It's buildable. It's buildable. So you can do a couple things with it. We could have a contractor go ahead and put in another condo organization. There's a dues revenue of 40 units.
right, whatever units, I don't know, 40 units, 40 acres, I don't know how big you do, or, hey, wanna talk about a residential area?
Yeah.
Okay, there,
Yeah,
assisted living.
assisted
You can
living,
do all kinds of things
they
there,
make
but
a fortune.
I think we should talk about, looking forward, at least if you don't wanna do something with it, then let's make a decision that we're not doing anything with it today. But environmental rules don't get easier down the road,
Yeah.
all right? Building rules don't ease up down the road. So if we're never going to do anything with Area Y, turn it into green space, quit paying taxes on it in perpetuity. If you wanna do something with it, kick it back to our committee and let us give you some suggestions on what we can do with this area. But do something, at least, you know, defer it or make a decision, or ask for options. So, with the barn, and so then I broke this thing down, and I started asking all these different things about barn 8, barn 6, and converting the clubhouse offices and third-party funding. I mean, it's a long list, and I don't think you really want me to talk about all
No,
of
but
this.
we all have copies of it, right? I tried to get you through that first 7 there,
Right.
and then just, you know, we're pretty close to the end of our meeting.
So those are my thoughts.
Yeah, so we got some thoughts tonight on video. If you forgot something, you can hear it again. And there'll be some minutes put together. We are in a situation where we will have the opportunity, we'll get some feedback also, that we gotta apply for it. Is what we got. I hear barn 8 all the way around.
Mhm.
It seems like barn 8 is a big deal. I know at the board level, barn 8, they're looking to us to help make the right decision.
I will apologize if I stepped on either you or Rick's toes at the board meeting when I told the president, if you're gonna work this, you tell us so we don't waste our time.
Yeah, no,
But if you want us to work on it, you let it go and let us do it.
I'll get that. I'm pretty sure we got a rubber stamp to do the work.
Okay.
Because everybody on that,
I was listening to, well, we're doing this, it's like, well, wait a minute, we don't have to do it if you are.
so I'll confirm that, but I'm pretty sure we got a green light. It gotta be done. It's important. And with the new buffer zone that came out, the proposal, you guys, I don't know if anybody's seen, I'll send a copy around. But they're changing the
They're
rules.
proposing.
They're proposing
Extending
to
it.
extending
another 50 feet.
another 50 feet before you build from water. I mean, we got a creek there, it's 150, now they're talking about 200 feet. And as you see in the drawing, it kind of goes over some of our existing swimming pool.
No, I created that.
You created
We
this?
don't wanna lose.
Oh, well, the subject matter.
No,
always.
no.
So well done, sir.
Same on board with that.
So I think that we need to really zoom on this, and then with the big priorities, there's a lot of good stuff brought up here, and, we have to prioritize what really we should focus on first, and then we gotta figure out priorities, and then we gotta figure out what's necessity, and then we like the wish list. The wish list is nothing wrong with the wish list, you know, get solar power out there, that's not a wish list, we have a good plan. So wish list, hey, let's do it, but let's do some research, let's do some stuff, and it could be a great plan.
So, I want to build on that one separate, Gary, you were raising your hand first, I'm sorry.
Well, go ahead, if you,
I think that we need some input from the association on bounding how much money we're talking about in different projects over a period number of years. And.
I got that coming.
Okay.
I got some research on it.
One other item, I'm the devil that brought to the board approved, $1,250,000, I think it was $1,250,000 loan to do our first project back in 18. And then the board bought the Whatcom Center and further indebted. So we now have maybe
I have it in
$2 million indebted.
I have it in front of you.
Yeah, thank you. We need to, I think maybe
So,
look that over.
yeah, this needs to include, so funds, to do stuff, you gotta have some funds, so just presently, I got this, I've had a meeting with Joel last couple times, this is as of last night. So this shows our debt, this shows our monthly payment, it also shows the payment's gonna be reduced,
2030.
yep, well, it's actually been reduced from 27,000 to 22. And
This year,
This year, July 28th, goes to 22,000, and then total payoff is 2030. Okay, that's the biggest debt that we have.
so we have a mortgage on the Welcome Center of 1.6 million at a certain rate.
Well, yeah, yes.
They redid, they rolled the loan in.
From the CRF loan, they put the two together.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what it is. But that's our debt, and then we have a few little small loans for the golf equipment. That small stuff, one's gonna be paid off here this year, one's gonna be paid off next year.
We're paying off the loan for $669.
Per month.
Oh, per month, okay.
It's $1,800, I think it's not much.
I'm sorry, what is this Barn 6, 1.1 million?
So barn 8, well, let's go with barn 8. Barn 8, this is,
There's
the
800
community is approved like almost $900,000 or something for barn 8.
815.
That was just for the reciting project.
Yeah, reciting project.
Not
that-
So there's money that's fenced for that building.
Yeah, this is money that's obligated, we have not used.
Okay, it's.
That's there, so it's 815.
But
And then
what's
for
the
barn
point?
6,
of putting money in barn 8.
Well, the point is, we stopped the project.
We're just, yeah.
So the money is now set aside,
Mhm.
and they're not spending a dime of it, which means that whatever project we come up with, we have a starting point of cash.
yeah, that's why I put it on, there's 815,000. In barn 6, there's 1.1 million that's been obligated for the pavilion.
What is the pavilion?
The pavilion was a proposal to put some
For 6,
walls.
that was the covered, open wall
Got it.
area that was
multi-use.
heavily favored by that one,
Persons.
both, well, but, yeah.
Okay, so are you saying that there's $1.1 million actual cash
That's my.
sitting in our account?
Yeah.
When you say obligated, so that's between 8 and 6, there's
Yeah.
1.915 or 815, no, 915, almost $2 million cash
Cash,
sitting somewhere.
yes.
Well, there's a starting point.
Yes, and then
Yeah.
we have capabilities to borrow easily, 2 to 3, could be more, but 2 to 3 easily if we needed it. If there was an option for it, and if that's from a bank and doing the long-term stuff. But if you did the short-term, provided there in black and white, you can see the two numbers, what it would cost if we borrowed in against dues.
So $56 per lot
Per
for
lot,
1 year?
for 1
Per
year,
month for 1 year?
for 1 year.
So did you get from Joel how much he felt like we would be able to qualify in a loan? I mean,
Yeah, 2 to 3 million.
2 or 3, okay.
That's not included in this. I mean, this is collateral, that's a given. 2 to 3. If
We're
we
getting
needed more.
risky. I mean, we just swallowed $347,000 against our roads money, fixing the bond cyclone, right? So we just swallowed $347,000 in cash that we weren't expecting to expend that came out of roads. And so this is all surf. That isn't, right? Roads and surf are separate.
This is right, yeah, this is not.
Right. So I think we need to maybe strategize, talk with finance about, saying, look, we're starting to get ourselves into a situation where we were never in debt before 2018. I will admit I'm the first one that helped propose put us in debt, but we better start watching out what we're doing, because if we're gonna start taking on these projects, you're looking at special assessments, and nothing will destroy a board faster than springing a special assessment on the membership without them having a whole lot of foreknowledge and input.
Absolutely.
You've got to keep it as low as you can, and to my way of thinking, stretching the loan out farther is a better idea. Have a special
Longer paying,
assessment for,
Lower fee.
yeah. Mhm.
Lower monthly, yeah.
Who manages this loan, this 1.6 million, and what rate is it at? Do you know anything about that?
Joel will have that, I don't wanna shoot from the hip.
The board
Sure.
approved it,
We have
they lowered the interest rate by combining the two loans.
Right.
All right, they lowered it, and so Joel can give it to you, and
So Joel kind of looks after that.
he is the guy that looks after it.
He's the
reports
main
to
guy.
treasurer.
That's where I got these numbers.
Right,
So,
from 27 to 22, I was just wondering what kind of rate that is, if anybody has any idea.
Yeah,
I don't think- I don't think
I'm
it's-
still drinking out of a fire hose.
Right.
He's the director of finance, though, and he knows that,
Yeah,
knows that stuff by heart.
so,
the only smart thing that board did.
If we don't spend money on the failing barn 8 and remodel barn 6 to be a real building, we can put the senior center in there. We'll put it next to the kitchen, they'll keep the kitchen clean. And,
A lot of options.
yeah,
lot of options.
A lot of
and,
options, but we can turn that into, Elizabeth, last conversation we had when we were here, just to bring you up to speed, we thought, let's turn it into a 2-story building. It's got the height, we can get away with it. So
well,
we would put the new dance barn, where we would rent out for weddings, 2nd floor, look at the view,
with the kitchen.
with the kitchen.
which the seniors, at the senior center, will keep clean.
Yeah.
Because they're all compulsive.
That explains my change in behavior right there.
Okay. So what I wanna do is wrap this one up, and I want you to be thinking on all the stuff that we consumed tonight. We do have,
Oh, can I add one thing?
Sure.
That I forgot. And you reminded me of it when you started talking about fire management. One of the things that's scary for me, and I think it's scary for a lot of people, is that how do you get out of this gate? There's only one way to get out, there's only one way in. How many gates are like that?
Only 1 and 2.
Yeah, and so it's pretty scary unless you've got the 4-wheeling whatever, you can go across the golf course. But if your town is on fire, if gate 2 is on fire, how do we get out?
So the safety committee is gonna be exploring emergency preparedness and emergency preparedness communication systems.
just
So-
the chairman of the safety committee, so you know.
So,
How many committees you have now, Rick?
He's in charge of all
I
committees.
think you should assign something to Stu, at least.
Okay.
Saturday.
Oh, good.
Well, we
Yeah, no,
appreciate you
so-
being involved in it.
So we're looking at that. In fact, I met with Tom Fields today.
Well, I just thought it would be part of it.
Yeah, so
No,
I appreciate that.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to give them something to do. It's
All right.
important. The fire too.
There's more to do.
13, we have 2 ways out.
The next meeting.
5 has 2 ways out.
From here on out, the meetings that we have scheduled for this committee is like the first Thursday of the month. And they're all on our website, and they're all in the multi-purpose room, in the large one that we won't suffocate in. Nice, and they all will be taped. And I just figured I'd just keep rolling with this, and in February, it puts us into another meeting like in a week, which would give us some time to digest what we did tonight. And if you are not in town or far away, you can still tune in. It's still accessible to still join the meeting.
I will be in Maui.
That's perfect, I think.
Yeah, I agree, it is perfect.
And I brought you some Hawaiian coffee over here just to get.
Oh, good.
What time is that meeting?
6:30.
6:30.
Same as today,
And where did you say
It's gonna be in the
Thursday,
multi-purpose
6th.
room.
first
First
Thursday.
Thursday of the month.
Downstairs in the dance floor.
Yeah. And we'll put it in, Rick and I will put an agenda together to give you guys some food for thought for a week. We had a lot that we shared tonight. Avery, appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
It was awesome to have the general manager here.
Well, I'm gonna attempt to, well, first of all, I did just 4.25% on that CRRL one. Joel just texted me back, so.
That's 4.25. That's a good rate.
That's a good rate.
No complaint.
Yeah.
But I'd like to call for adjournment if everybody's okay with that.
Call for adjournment.
And we can cut the tape.
Avery, was it a good meeting for you?
It was awesome. It was interesting to hear everything that I was completely unaware of. So